All right. Okay. So I invited Suzy to join us tonight because I've heard of a lot of different people who have been scammed in different ways, different experiences with scamming, not only here in Israel, but all around the world. I know of somebody in South Africa who got scammed out of 15,000 Rand. I've heard of others here in Israel with road number 6, Fish Sesh, and with other things that have gone on. And because of that, I felt it was an extremely important thing for us to know. And one of the reasons why I have Steel Sisters and why we started Steel Sisters was also not only to just have the social side, which is obviously a very important aspect of it, but also to have the connection, to have that connection, but also to be inspired, and a very vital part is being educated. And when it comes to certain of the speakers that I specifically invite, it's because I want you to have that education, to understand what's going out in the world there, and to get it from those who are the specialists or the experts in the field. I've known Suzy for quite a number of years, and we've been in different networking groups together. We still are in certain networking groups together. And we've even looked at doing certain projects together. And this is really our first one together as such.
No, it isn't. We did it
with Sarah, right? Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah. Okay. So we've done some projects together, and we're going to be doing a lot more in the future. But Suzy works in personal finance, and she works at helping people to come up with budgeting, and she will explain a lot more about what she does. And when I was looking for someone to talk about this phone scams, and it's all to do with finance, I turned to Suzy and I said, please, you've got to help me. I need somebody urgently to come on and to talk to Steel Sisters and to talk about what exactly are phone scams, how to prevent them, what to do. And also another very important thing is also for those who have got elderly parents, or who know somebody who's elderly, or who has younger adults, okay, who are still naive and not completely street smart. This information is vital. Okay, I've already pressed record. It is going to be recorded. Suzy and I discussed what is the best way to do it, because normally with Steel Sisters, what we normally do is when it comes to questions and answers, we normally edit that part of the recording out. So I'm telling you now, before anybody opens their mouths, that Suzy said to me she would prefer me not to edit it, for the simple reason that if somebody asks a question, but what do I do if a so-called credit card company calls me and wants to just verify something on my account or something like that, or whatever it is. By asking that question, okay, you are actually helping others to learn and to be informed by it. So what we are going to do is please have general questions now. And at the end, we will cut the recording. And then if anybody wants to get more personal and get more into personal questions with Suzy, you're welcome to do so then. Okay, and that is the way we're going to do it. So please understand that this is what's going to happen from now and how we are going to go into it further. All right. Okay, Suzy, I think everybody here knows me, so I'm not going to talk about who I am or what I do. We all know that I'm an empowerment coach, and I work with women 50 plus. And I started Steel Sisters because I felt that it was vital for women of this age to have that connection, to have that bond, to be able to be inspired by others who are the same age. I don't want to hear about the 25-year-old or the 40-year-old who's doing whatever and is wonderful and everything like that. And I've got brain fog and a menopause belly, and they don't understand what I'm going through, and all those kind of things. So, excuse me. I started Steel Sisters because I wanted to share with others and to see the connection and the friendship building and the bonds coming. And I'm very grateful to say that thanks to all of you, it is growing. It is doing well. We're having lots of fabulous meetings. Leora Bloom has just joined us, and we did a fabulous meeting with her recently. So hi, Leora. I'm glad you joined us. And just for those of you who don't know, and just please, Leora and I need to have a chat, but in December we are doing another event together. So that will be on the agenda as well. And it's now over to Suzy. Suzy.
Well, first of all,
Introduce
Michelle,
yourself.
yes, thank you so much for inviting me again. I think, to tell you the truth, we know each other for about, I should say, about 13 to 15 years. And you haven't changed, you still look lovely. Thank you very much, lovely ladies, for turning up, as we're going to talk about how to make sure that your money is secure. As Michelle said, I haven't prepared a presentation because I really would like it to be interactive, because there's lots of questions. But a lot of you are looking at me and saying, okay, Suzy, you're a family financial advisor. What's that got to do with phone scamming? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do, so you'll understand how important it is for me to make sure your money is safe. So I'm a family financial advisor. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not insurance. I'm a lawyer. I just deal with making sure your money is leveraged to the maximum. So I deal with 4 major areas. First of all, budgeting. If you're not budgeting, as one millionaire said, the most important thing, if you want to be successful, you have to plan, because if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So I'll make sure that you have a plan for your money, which is, of course, budgeting and financial planning. I also deal with people with a fluctuating income. For example, I have a small business, I have a fluctuating income, people who receive better income from abroad, people who work on commission. High-tech people who get massive bonuses at the end of the year have a fluctuating income. So I help people sort out their money in that area, how to deal with the fluctuating income. And then I deal with people with a financial dilemma. For example, I'm working with a woman that wants to go into a retirement home. Can she afford to go into a retirement home? Does she want to go into a retirement home? What type of retirement home does she want to go? And what age does she want to go in? And whether she can afford it. And the last area that I deal with is a change in your financial status. For example, I got divorced. That was a huge change in my financial status. I went from a double income to a single income, got to a single income, went to a fluctuating income. People who come on aliyah, people who get married, people when they become a widow. There's so many transitions when we have a change in our financial status, and it's very important that we also secure our money. So when Michelle actually phoned me, I had just written a newsletter about phone scamming. Okay, what does that mean? There's not just phone, there's emails and there's SMS. But I'm going to talk to you about one of my clients. He came on Aliyah, and he's quite well off, and he's a very generous man. And when I was looking through the expenses, I saw that he was giving an enormous amount of money to Staka, to one place. I think it was over 1,000 shekels, and it wasn't 1,000 shekels donation, it was a lot of little ones. And I said to him, you know, that it'd be very nice, you know, what's this organization do? And he didn't know. And I said, it's really nice to do a specific donation organization. For example, Leket. Leket at the moment, before Rosh Hashanah, they make sure there's food on the table for the Chag. Or Chashay Lev, I like to give, where they help children get treatment abroad, for example, when we have a specific purpose. So this guy, my client, had no idea what this Staka organization did. So I asked him, would you like to give less and give more to another person? He said yes. But you know what? He couldn't stop the standing order, because there was no such organization, believe it or not. And there was no phone number. There was nothing, absolutely nothing. The problem is, what do we do now? Slowly but surely, he's sorting it out. So we're coming through towards the hugging. We're going to have Rosh Hashanah. A lot of people will phone us up and say, would you like to donate 500 shekels to put food on somebody's table? And of course we do. And they know how to talk to your heart. Think about it. Your 500 shekel donation will make a family so happy. Okay? They know how to manipulate you. You can say, I'd love to donate that 500 shekels. Please send me your website. Okay, we do not give credit card details to anybody on the phone that we don't know. But that's not exactly true, right? They phoned us, they want our credit card details. We don't give our credit card details over the phone in a place that we don't know. But if I phone up the area and I want to pay my arnon, or I phone up the electricity board, I want to pay my electricity bill, or I phone up a shop that I know that I want to pay my butcher bill, I can do that because I know these people. So the difference is whether we know them, we don't know them. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah.
Right, very, very clear. Right, so one of the main things that I think the first message that we should have, if they call us, no, it's a big no-no, right? Unless you know the person, unless you know the organization. If you don't know the organization, they want you to donate or to buy or to do something, then you please, 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 please ask them to send you the website. Okay, you say, I don't donate over the phone, but I'm very happy to donate. And then we know they're legit or not. And then you can have full control of how much you want to pay. Any questions? Okay, great. Let's go on to
wait, Suzy, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah, I have a question. So you're saying that what happens if they're scammers and the website that they send you to is also a scam? Is that possible?
That's a very, very good question. For example, I've learned now on Facebook, when I see something really, really nice, a company, and I want to buy for it, I go into Google and I say reviews for this company. Okay, you can always ask Google. Even better nowadays, you can ask ChatGPT, who's this company? Are they legit? Okay, sometimes you see these beautiful clothes on what's it called, on Facebook, and you buy to go and buy. The first thing you need to do is reviews for this company. Okay, and some of them say it took a year for the stuff to get to arrive, and it was in terrible condition. So you know not to buy them. Okay, fine. Everything's available on the internet. You can't, it's very difficult to scam. Right, okay. Yes.
I read your newsletter the other day. My husband has been donating for years. They phone him up. He's got a couple that he gives every 2-3 months. He gives extra, and he's been giving them. And I said, how does he know that they're actually legitimate? I said, I read in the newsletter that you should use the website. He got a phone call today. And he said to them, please send me your website. But you've been donating all the time. He said, never mind that. Send me your website.
And they couldn't.
Well, I think they did. But at the same time, he's now going to check it out and make sure it's legit. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's good to get positive feedback. Yes. Okay. I have to tell you what prompted me to write this newsletter is a client phoned me up and she was hysterical. She said, my father's bank account has been totally cleared out. And I said, how? He said, well, they got a phone call from the bank. Okay, so let's talk about the bank. And then somebody wanted their details and they wanted to verify the passwords and all the rest of it. And they cleared out everything that was in the bank account. Okay, so when the bank phones you up, right, you can ask them, which branch do I bank in? Just one question. They will say, hello, this is Dawn from the bank. I don't know Dawn because people don't go to the bank anymore. I do know the branch manager, because he used to be I knew him. I just know him. You can ask him, so which branch do I bank in? And if he doesn't know this basic information, he doesn't even need to know your bank details. Which bank do I bank in? One simple question. Oh, you bank at Bank of Portland, your branch number is 603. That's fine. But if he doesn't know, or they don't know, it's a scam. Okay? So all you need to do, tell your father, tell your mother, tell your children, ask them one question, which bank do I bank at? What's the branch number? Everybody knows that. Okay? Now, the bank has everything. All your details. They have your ID number, they have the bank account number, and you don't need to tell them your internet number because it's only for you. The bank doesn't. My bank manager doesn't have it. My banker doesn't have it. It's just mine.
What did you mean by your intimate?
Internet. You have internet banking, so you have your password, and then you have the username, you have the password. The password is only for you. The bank doesn't need it. Nobody has it except for the computer. And I have to tell you, my ex used to be, is still a banker, and he said that when you send out an email to the bank will send you an answer, and if you reply again, they'll send you a different answer. They'll send you an answer in a separate email. You don't have a whole long conversation with it. Just that they stop the hackers. Okay, so the bank are very, very careful about guarding your information. Now, if they say to you, okay, we need to verify your details, you can say, one moment, please, I'm a bit busy, you need to phone back later. You put down the phone, you phone out your bank, or you phone out the Moked, and you say, this is what's happened. Is this right? Okay? Because it's very suspicious that somebody phones you up and says, I don't have your details, we want to verify them. Okay? It's like every time this week I went into my Google account, my Facebook account from another device. Okay? And I immediately got an email from Facebook, is that you? Google will do that as well. Is that you? Almost everything that you use is that you? So if somebody phones you up from the bank and says, we need to verify you, you say, just one moment, put down the phone out the bank. Because you don't need to verify them. Yes, Leora.
Yeah. Another question. Today, just before I got on the call with you, Google came and said to me something about it needs me to verify something about my credit card, and I put my finger on the, I'm on a Mac, so you can put this finger, a fingerprint recognition. Yes. Now the question is, have I now given it all my details?
I mean, so maybe we're going to come to that. Okay, but I want to talk specifically about the bank. Okay. The bank, very rarely, when you're getting a call from the bank, unless it's from your own personal banker, it will not be from a mobile phone. 100%. It'll always be 04 and it'll be 03, 02. Very rarely do I ever get a call from the bank that it's a mobile number, unless it's from my personal banker, which I don't have, because I never go to the bank. Everything's done on the internet. Okay, so be very, very cautious about that, right? Especially like if you want to phone out the bank will have a callback, and they will tell you this is a callback from the Bank of Poland, whatever. If you haven't noticed, I bank of Poland. Don't know why, but I just do. You don't give any details. You can give your credit card details, just the number, but they can't use it because they don't know the expiry date, and they won't have the CVV either. Which brings me to another point, that if you have all this on your computer, I suggest you have a password in order to go into your computer. right? Most computers do. If you have a phone and you have your bank details and everything on the phone, also to have your fingerprint or a password in order to go into it, like a number. Okay.
What about a double verification, which I have seen a number of times, that sometimes you can have like a double verification before you can get into something, whether it be an email address or whether it be a bank account or whether it be any of that kind of information, which makes it more secure.
Yeah, some people, I mean, your phone is up to you. I know that in some places they will ask for verification, like, what's your dog's name, or what's your maiden name, or what's your father's name? Okay, they make it better, but always have a password on your computer and on your phone, that even if it gets stolen or it's more difficult to hack.
So can I just say something here about passwords and things like that? And this is something that I learned years ago from somebody who was in IT. And he said, when you have passwords, it's always good to change them after a while. And you take a word. For example, if you live here in Israel, you would take a Hebrew word and put it into like English letters. So let's just say it's chutzpah, okay? So you would go, in English, you would spell it CHUTZPA, okay? Or PAH. Okay, so then you would have that as your password, as opposed to my birth date is whatever it is, or with the dates and the numbers, or things of that nature that are easy for them to pick up. When you talk about a word like that, for example, Melody, you could take an Afrikaans word and use that. You know what I mean? Any of these kinds of things that you could then take a word that they wouldn't think of connecting to you. So it makes it much more difficult for people to get into you through passwords. And somebody else, and also
I always do for a password, I'll have the name like Chutzpah 1, Chutzpah 2, Chutzpah 3. Even if they got the number, the name,
they wouldn't have the number right.
But nowadays they have the program will actually say, this is a good password, this is a strong password, this is hard, right? So
and also it's very, very important to not keep the same password for everything. Because some people have it on their cell phone, on their emails, on their bank accounts, on everything. Don't do that. Okay, change it for everything, and every now and then, like every 3 months or something like that, change the words around, change the passwords around. Because if you keep to the same one, you think she's like, oh, well, but I'm not going to remember it.
Well, this is it. If we're getting old now, you can't keep changing.
I have a booklet.
There's thing called piece of paper. There's paper and a pen. Use a paper and a pen to write it down. Exactly. Take a piece of paper and a pen and write down there, my bank details are such and such, my password is such and such, for this period of time, from January to April. Okay, and so on. And you do that and you're constantly changing it. Then the chances of them hacking you and getting into where you are a lot less than if I'm going to keep my password. My husband's name is Lee, and if I was to go Mish Lee, it's easy.
No, well, that's what
you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that it's something else. I mean, you know, like at times I've used my grandmother's names and their birth dates, and I've changed the birth dates around. So there's no ways that people are going to get it, because even my husband can't get into those accounts because he doesn't know the birth dates. So, you know, it's just a way of playing with the passwords, which are very, very important to make sure that you don't make it easy for anybody who's trying to get in. Yeah, Angie.
Somebody like me who I'm by myself, my daughter, I told my daughter I have my book with my passwords in and everything, that if something happens to me, she's got access. But let's talk about the access.
Wait, just hang on a second, Suzy. First of all, Angie wanted to make a comment, and then I want to say something afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, a quick question when we're talking about passwords. Let's say you have different credit cards and you've got different passwords. Are you both suggesting that also those passwords should also be changed?
Yes.
No, I have a better suggestion for that.
Oh, okay.
Before that, in order to avoid or prevent, for example, I have a subscription to X and it's renewed and I don't want to renew it, or they've got problems. I change my credit card every other year. Like
I'm not talking about the credit card. I'm talking about using your credit card when you need to use a password. And are you saying,
I don't understand.
let's say we're not using it by tapping, but they actually want the card to be used through a machine and they want the password,
They
right?
don't want a password, they want a passcode. It's a code,
Sorry,
like the number
passcode.
4321 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it's usually
you're
four
talking about your
numbers.
PIN number. You're talking about a PIN number?
PIN number.
number.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
You must be extremely careful. For example, I try very hard not to withdraw money from a cash point machine on the road.
I agree.
I go inside the bank. Okay. Using it in the supermarket as well. Make sure that nobody can see. You can even put your hand over it and putting it in, because it's now over 300 shekels. But be very, very careful when you're using your PIN, the PIN code, that people are not looking at it.
But that was my question. Is one supposed to change the PIN code for the same reason?
You can change it. It's very, very quickly. You can change it like every month, but it also depends how often you use it. Your credit.
But also,
I think you and I need to have a little talk.
but also, Angie, if you think about it, using the ones that have got the Wi-Fi on it are much better, much more secure from the point of view the people don't need it. You don't need a PIN number, and therefore they can't copy it and they can't get into your
I'm
account
saying
that way.
sometimes there are occasions when you need to use a PIN card with your PIN number with your card. And that's why I was asking this question, if you were thinking about having to change, if we have to change that as well, which I've never done. I've never changed the PIN.
Okay, I'd like to go back to this bank account.
Sorry, just before you do that, there is something that you mentioned, and you mentioned about your children knowing where everything is, your passwords and all that sort of thing. This is something that somebody else that I had on Steel Sisters some time ago that made a very good point. That not only is it important for your children to know, or your next of kin or somebody to know exactly where your passwords are, what your PIN numbers are, where your wills are, where your powers of attorney are, where all this information is. They need to be able to know where it is, because if, God forbid, something should happen to you and you are not able to say that you need to go to this cupboard and you'll find it in that drawer or whatever it is, it's very important that they are aware of where to go to get whatever information they need.
It's a very good point. Very good point.
Very important point.
Yeah, I have to say, all my clients that work for me, they get a booklet called the Financial Assessment. If anybody wants the booklet, they're most welcome to contact me. Actually, I call it the Chas v'Chalila fine. Exactly what Michelle said. It's all there. The bank account details, the insurance details, the pension details, everything is there, and I give it out. Like everybody I meet, and they have that problem, I give a copy of that booklet.
But it's not only those details, it's also things like your will.
Yeah, the
where's
will.
Where's your household insurance? Where's your life insurance? Yeah.
Who's your insurance agent? Who's the insurance? What insurances do you have? So, because if anything happens,
what about your pension scheme? What about your disability scheme, if there is such a thing, or
all
whatever
there,
it is?
it's all there in the booklet. It's called, as I say, I call it the financial assessment when I'm talking to potential clients, but when I actually work with them, I call it the Chas v'Chalila, because you can't mark it a Chas v'Chalila file, right? No, you can't. It's not. But I'd like to go back to the.
Right.
I'd like to go back to the how do you protect your bank account, the woman and the father. Unfortunately, the woman was not on her father's bank account, even though she should have been. My daughter's on my bank account. And there can be a stipulation, as we did with my mother, that if there was a withdrawal or something which was unusual, that or she dipped into a savings or she shouldn't have, we get a phone call from the bank. That it should be a stipulation, so it won't happen. For example, if I spend 20,000 shekels, all of a sudden my daughter will get a phone call from the bank, for example. People who live by themselves are more susceptible. Okay, like I have to admit, I am a family financial advisor, but during Corona, and suddenly my head stood on ends, and I said, my goodness, if anything happens to me, what happens to my bank account? It gets frozen, like by that, it gets frozen. And I said, this is not good enough. And the first day that everything got open again, I found out my daughter said, we're going to the bank. And she went onto my bank account. So if you're by yourself, you've got nobody on your bank account, think about it. Yes. Okay, so that we really need to, and another thing is a lot of people now, because due to internet banking, they do have access to their parents' account just to see what's going on. And I highly recommend for those of you who have elderly parents to do that. I'm not talking about your children, but the young people are so susceptible to scams as well. It's not just the old people, the younger people, okay? And especially when they're looking for the quick buck. You know, they have all these schemes, put in some money, it will be okay. Put in some money, be okay. Yeah, okay. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
That's okay. We get lots of SMSs, right? For example, you get them from the Israeli Post to say that you need to pay, money for a parcel that's arrived. Like, but we know what's meant to be coming in that we've ordered, right? So, and another thing is that you, if you open it up, you will see whether it's the official Israeli Post website. But we should actually know what we've ordered, and I've got so many of them that I know that it's not legit, okay? Because I know when I order from abroad. The same is also Facebook. I get so many messages from Facebook that I have to do something to my page. If you're in doubt, I have somebody, a professional Facebook person, and I ask them, what should I do here? Okay, so be very careful with your SMSs, what you get and what you don't get. Now, Liara said she got something from Google and that she had to verify with her finger. What was the actual problem? That you were locked into, you accessed Google from a
Well, what happened was that I had I was scammed 2 weeks ago. So yeah. And because of that, I have a new credit card. So Google has not recognized my credit card, and something has come up that I'm paying Google that I don't even know what I'm paying them for. But I assume that it's something that I've been paying them for, and it's because of the credit card. So I put on, so it asked me to identify myself, yeah, and I put my finger on. And then I thought to myself, hold on, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Okay, so that's a very good question. How do we know if something is legit or not? Okay, I got hacked when I first started out by Google. Okay, they wanted to verify my stuff, and I verified it, and all my contact list and everything just disappeared. Thank goodness it was right at the beginning when I started work. And I had a friend in Google. He said, first of all, okay, just as with the bank, Google doesn't need to verify anything, okay? And it's got to be it'll be the name of the person at google.com, right? And if you look very carefully at the email address, you will most probably see that it will have Microsoft@gmail.com, okay? It won't have the official or Yahoo or whatever. And if you are concerned about it, I would actually suggest writing to them and say, this is what we got. Yes, Liara, you wanted to say something?
So this is what it says. It says from the Google Workspace team. and it has an address that's workspace no reply at google.com.
So
But
I would I would contact Google.
Okay, so I should not even, I shouldn't even have put my finger on that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
First of all, it could be 100% legit.
Yeah.
But
it's not, but I should contact them. I shouldn't have gone into that and clicked on the link. Yeah. Okay.
I would very much ask you,
Right.
check the people who send you the SMS. If you don't know them, don't answer them.
This is an email, it's not an SMS. Yes, SMSs are more careful. Yeah.
Email addresses, you have to be very, very careful. And you know, when in doubt, don't do it. I once got a, what's it called? They said that I had infringed on something and that I had to do something. I had to do something. So I immediately phoned them, sent them back. I said, can you explain this? I always write it in English if it's an Israeli email. And can you explain this, please? I don't understand what you're telling me to do. And that was fine. Never got an answer from them. So again, when you doubt, do without. I'd like to start about, okay, we talked about the email addresses. We talked about the SMSs, how careful it is. Okay, another thing is that I always recommend my clients to do is regularly go into the bank accounts and the credit cards on a regular basis. I do it every single day, but that's who I am. At least once a week, because you have no idea how many times I've seen credit card charges that are not mine, and I immediately cancel my credit card. I've done it so many times. Like somebody once ordered a feast on my credit card, and I said, I don't live in Tel Aviv. I didn't order it. So immediately I have to go and cancel my credit card. But if I waited until the end of the month, would I have noticed it? Would they have carried on charging my credit card? Then I have a problem with the credit card. I'll tell you a story talking about credit cards. Somebody took out cash in Rami Levy. Okay, she wasn't careful with the PIN number. Her credit card got stolen, and the people, the thieves, used the credit cards to go shopping in Rami Levy. And she said, but it was stolen. And they accused her because she wasn't careful enough with when she was withdrawing cash at the ATM machine outside Rami Levy, that she did it on purpose. So you have to be extremely, extremely careful. You have to be extremely. A lot of people now pay on the phone. Make sure you've got a password on your phone. Okay, that it's not so easy to use. Nowadays, you can't have purchases for more than 300 shekels. Otherwise, you have to put in your PIN number, which is a really good idea. Really, really good idea. Okay.
The other thing is, Suzy, which I just wanted to mention, we also talk about stories, is that happened to my brother who lives in America. And he was in Bali, I think it was, and he was in a restaurant, and he gave the waiter, his credit card to pay the bill. And the guy went away with the card, came back, gave it to him, everything like that, and it was all fine. And he checks his bank account on a regular basis and his credit card account and everything. And all of a sudden, there was an amount that came up from an art gallery in Australia. And he contacted the bank and asked them about it. And they said, well, it's come through on your credit card details. But there was whoever had withdrawn it from that art gallery had also put the money back in, less $2 or something like that. It was just a very small handling fee. And when he and he asked the bank about it, they said, well, it's from Australia and it's this is the name of the art gallery. So he contacted the art gallery. And apparently what had happened is that this particular waiter at this restaurant in Bali had taken down all his details from the credit card. The expiry date, the number on the back, the CVC number, everything, and had proceeded to order online art that he was sending all over Australia. And he had tried
nowadays, you need to have an ID number, you need to have a passport number.
Well, I don't know, but this guy got it. He said it's an American number, but don't worry about it. And he has the details. And the art gallery got suspicious because he had two other credit cards that they tried to order stuff from, and both were declined. In other words, they had been caught already. And when the third one came through and it went through, they thought, you know what, let me just check on this, and discovered that it was also not authentic. And they cancelled it and refunded the money back into the credit card account. And if he had not checked it, that money would have gone through. So it's very, very important.
Nowadays, again, I once wrote an article about how to protect your credit card when you go abroad. Okay, so there's a couple of things. Is that if give them a credit card, make sure that they give your credit card back. Right, that's number one. Number two is that there's so many scams about that you go in. I've heard so many, like in the shuk in Yerushalayim, unfortunately, where they will go, a vendor will put your card through and they'll say, I'm sorry, it didn't go through. Can you just pay my friend across the road? And because there's a problem here, you're paying twice. If you're going to be converting, this is really important. Nowadays, it's very easy to buy foreign currency before you go, and your credit card, at one time, if you were going to England, you could only use pounds. And even if you bought something in dollars, they would convert it into pounds. So nowadays, before you go abroad, you can buy the foreign currency and keep it in your bank account, and only a banker's card would debit your account in foreign currency. For example, if you have a Rami Levy card, they can't do it because Rami Levy is an external credit card. Only your banker's card. For example, I have Isra card because I'm a bank of Poalim. That particular card will only use foreign currency. Okay. Nowadays, when you actually pay in a restaurant, especially in Israel, because we're so advanced and so clever, they actually bring you a device where you just put your credit card in, so there's hardly any credit card fraud in the restaurants, which is a very good idea. Okay. Any other questions? Any other pieces of advice?
Yes, you've got a question.
I just wanted to say we have a really huge problem here in South Africa because they literally kidnap you, take you to a house, and then they get all your PIN codes from you, and somebody stays with you while they go to all the different banks with all your cards and buy and go crazy on your credit card and clear out your accounts. And if it's all fine, they come back, they'll let you go. Otherwise, they'll come back and they'll kind of torture you until you give them all the information. So we've got a really huge problem here. You've got to be so scared and so careful that, it's terrible.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to sleep well tonight.
Sorry, no, it's just one of the things that really happens here. We have a lot of scams. They even they'll phone you and tell you you've got a deposit that's coming into your account. And then I think, which bank would actually phone you to tell you you're getting a deposit in? You can understand a withdrawal, but they even go as far as to try and catch you that way.
Anything that the bank phones you up with is suspicious, you say thank you very much, put down the phone. If they want to verify, you say, if you're phoning from the bank, you have my bank details, and if they insist, you put down the phone. This is what I want to say. You put down the phone. You don't answer emails. You don't answer SMSs. If something is suspicious, when in doubt, do without.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Okay.
Okay.
I think that I've covered everything. If there's any other questions or you want some more advice, again, if there's a company you're not sure of, do a Google check or do a Google review. How is this company, if you want, especially want to buy it abroad? I think there was these ladies' dresses, and I kept on seeing the same model with a different dress. So you know there's something wrong. Okay, you just got to be very alert and astute what's going on. And then they say they were having a clearance sale. I was a sucker. I thought I was going to get in a leather bag. So thank goodness I only bought one. It was a load of crap when I got it. To my front, it was terrible. I gave it to my little niece, and she was absolutely happy with it, but I couldn't wear it. I couldn't use it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got some good tips. When and now, do without. If you phone up the company, it's fine. If they phone you, we don't give them any details. Anything that you want to buy, I would suggest that you go onto the website, even though it's not 100% okay. It's not 100% okay, but it's better than giving somebody your credit card details over the phone.
Yeah.
Check the email address, check the SMSs, and when in doubt, do without. And I want to say thank you.
Yeah, okay. So any other questions? No?
Suzy, what about PayPal? Isn't that a good
PayPal is fine.
No,
PayPal,
I'm saying, but isn't that a good protection? Don't they
it
have
is.
thing-
Any
Yes.
form of like Bit and Paybox and PayPal are great. Okay. I know that PayPal, they take commission now if you use them, but it's still better than, I know that in Temu, the internet shopping everybody's crazy about, and it's really, really cheap. Do not give them your credit card, use PayPal instead.
Yeah, very important. Okay, so thank you very much, Suzy. I really, really appreciate you hopping on so quickly and doing this. And to all of you, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you too. I hope it's been informative. I hope it's been interesting. I have prepared something as well, which giving a few extra pointers, which and Suzy has two, so we're going to combine the two together, and I will be emailing it to you in the next day or two, giving you all those pointers again at the email addresses where you registered, and you'll then have something in writing as well. Okay, there will be a recording. This recording will be edited, and then it'll be up in the next few days for you to then watch it again, and it'll be on our YouTube channel. All right. So thank you, everybody. Just everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy.
Thanks,
So,
everybody.
thank you.
Salary.
Take
All
care.
right. Thanks for
Michelle,
coming.
please send out my details so people can contact me tomorrow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. We'll put it onto the same thing with the email with your details. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take